And we rescue. This is just to test the volume. Ooh, it's my first live, y'all. You gotta dance to that one. Gotta dance to all your accomplishments today. Oh, this is recording just fine. This is important right here. All right. Hello, beautiful people, tribe of many colors. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. This is my first live, y'all. My first one. And I'm going to make it good. I'm going to make it happy. I'm going to make it fun because we need that in the energy right now. And this is the first card I pulled. Respect. You value everyone's unique perspective on the path to love. This is important. This is important because this is what's been holding us back, okay? From all the things you want to accomplish in any arena in which you want to accomplish, this right here is important. We got to have respect for each other, respect for ourselves, loved and calm and beautiful and happy, right? All of that we need to give through respect. That's a great way to start it off. Great way to start it off. I hope you've been doing good. I hope you've been taking care of yourself. I hope you've been doing all the things you need to come back to balance, all right? In your unique way. It's important to come back to balance in a way that's perfect for you. So you guys might have seen me post some stuff about going to the beach. That's my space to get my balance. I'm water. Okay, that's my element. I'm a Gemini. They say that's the air, but give me the water. I love being by the lake, a stream, a river, the ocean, being in the rain. I remember one time it was raining and I was walking home from school and I just dragged my bag on the ground and just walked through the rain and let it hit me. And I never felt so cleansed and free and at peace. Right? So there's something so amazing about the water and how it cleanses. And if the water is your element, always make sure you find time to get there. When I was there, it's like, first of all, it was at a national beach in a national park. And there was barely anybody there. It was a Sunday. I think there was like five groups of people set up on the beach. And it's a 6-mile strip of beach. And it felt so good to be there, but also have your space to give honor and thanks and not have to worry about the crowds and people kind of disrupting your peace. And the first thing I felt when I was there was Everybody should have this. And I don't see enough of us people, brown people, melanated people. I don't see enough of us in these national parks and these state parks and all these beautiful places in nature. And we need to be there. We need to be there to get the healing that it offers. We need to be there to give back to nature the joy that we have, right? It's a way to unburden your problems, release unwanted energy, right? All of these things are important when you go out in nature. If you are having any problem in your life, in your marriage, in your relationships, problems with your kids, issues that you feel like you can't find answers for, you got to go be in nature. You have to go be in nature, right? Some of the wisest, most amazing um, answers are there waiting for you. You go next to a tree and ask any question you want to, and you're going to get an answer. Just wait for it. It's either going to come that day, or it's going to come in a dream that night, or it's just going to show up in an aha moment, right? That's why you're always supposed to walk among the trees, because you get your answers from the wisdom that they can give us. So take your kids out to the parks, take your spouse out, your partner, your friends, just go be out in nature, walk amongst the trees, and you'll find that naturally things that you might be afraid to say, or you've been wanting to say, or decisions you've been wanting to make, you might find that it just becomes easier to talk about them there. Your kids are going to just open up to you more, instead of you having to push them to open up for you or to you or share with you. If you guys sit under a tree, have a picnic, just be out together in nature, everyone just naturally opens up. It's like nature just says you have permission to be free, be yourself. No pretenses, no anger holding you back, no judgment infecting the conversation or the relationship. Just be free. Just be you, be yourself. Nature just encourages you to do that naturally. So if you want a really good therapist, that's the first place to start. Okay. You might need other therapy in combination with it, but going for a walk in nature is a good way to start, no matter what you're stressed with and no matter what you're going through. That's the place to be. Okay. So when I need my grounding and I'm coming out of being sick and going right into allergies and I need some balance, that's where I go. I find my way to the water. No matter how far it is, I will drive. If it requires a lot of planning, I don't care. I will go. And I encourage you to do that. Just plan a trip, go out in nature, spend a whole day, get some sun. It's worth the hassle to get there for the amount of good it's going to do for you and your family. It's worth it. The hecticness of traveling to get there, okay? Trust me, I tell you, it's worth it. All right. What I want to talk about today. One of the big things that's been coming up lately is the topic of fear. Okay, so this year, I feel strongly that we need to work on our fears. It's not normal or natural to exist constantly in a state of fear. Okay. It's the quickest and easiest way to break down the cells in the body, to get you sick, to deplete you of your mental power, your emotional stability. Fear in the body is unhealthy, and it creates sickness and disease in the cells, okay? Because their natural state is not the frequency of fear. They can't reproduce and function fully if your body is in a constant state of fear. So anything at all that you're afraid of, it's time to start moving towards letting that go. Anything. Think of the smallest, most minute thing you can think of that you might be afraid of, be it an insect, be it speaking in public, meeting new people, trying new dishes, whatever it is you're afraid of, it's time to start working on that. Okay, whichever way it comes up for you to do that, start trying to work on releasing those fears, because tied up in the energy of that fear is the confidence you need to do all the other things you're dreaming of doing. So, especially if you're somebody that finds yourself stuck, like you have all these big ideas, these huge dreams, you see yourself doing it, you know it's for you, and you can't seem to push in that direction for some reason, like something just keeps holding you back. Somewhere in your life, you have fear tied up, right? And the message is, within these next coming months, start working on your fears so that you can release the confidence that's tied up there, because you're going to need it in the next phase, this next big shift, this next big move you're going to make. You're going to need complete confidence, right? As much as you can. So in order to free that up so you have it available to use, you got to start releasing the fear. Okay? The fear is important to let go. You free your confidence up. It gives you the confidence you need to get a new job, to move, to approach someone for a business idea, okay, to go do your entrepreneurship, to write that book, to get a new partner, whatever it is, to travel, right? You need a lot of confidence to travel. And a lot of us are going to be traveling within the next couple months. The next year is coming up. We are going to travel to places that people have never seen us before. Okay? I get that strongly in the visions that I see coming up. Is travel becomes this huge thing for us, where we're going to be freed up from work to travel. And for some of us, that's what we have needed this whole time, was the ability to be able to go to these places and bring our energy to those spaces and receive and exchange energy with them. That's a natural part of being a human being, is the exchange of energy. And there's a lot of us that have never traveled outside of where we live, and we've never exchanged energy with people across the waters or in the mountains or in the jungles. And they're supposed to see us and know us and feel us. And nature sometimes requires our energy to be in different spaces. There's something you bring that's calming or refreshing or uplifting or cleansing. Some of us walk around with cleansing energy. And when you're someone that can cleanse a space, heal the darkness in a home, clear the lingering spirits in a forest, heal the energy of a stream or a pool of water, you are always going to be blessed to travel. So when you travel and you get the urge to travel, make sure you follow that instinct to the place where nature is going to want you to be. Because when you travel to those spaces, you're doing something so magnificent. You see what I'm saying? It's it's earth changing, it's life changing when you follow the instincts to do something, and then it takes you to a place where you're going to equally benefit from this exchange. It's going to be an amazing feeling when you're able to travel to places you didn't think you could be before, or that you could never get there. And if that's your dream, I don't know why this energy is coming through so strongly, but if it's your dream to travel, you're being guided to not give up on that. That it's important for you to hold on to that vision of being in these spaces. The only thing you're responsible for is to show up with loving, grounding, compassionate energy. Okay? That's your responsibility in that space. All right. Now, I'm going to show you some books that I've been reading. You might have seen that I had started reading some books before and never quite finished them. There's a reason for that. I did some research, and this is kind of a legal issue because technically, if a book is under copyright and then you go and read that book online, what you have just read becomes an unauthorized audiobook. All right. So sometimes you have to make sure the book you're reading, they don't have strict copyright on it. And it's kind of in the public domain, meaning the copyright has run out and it's now just open and free to the public to use. Because if especially if you monetize your channel, if you monetize your channel and you're reading books, just be careful that you want to check into the copyright on that book and make sure someone can't come later and say, hey, you got to take that down because it has a copyright on it. Because they can. And you might be like, well, I see some people read books and nobody ever seems to bother them about it. Some books, they allow you to read them for like for teachers and students. They'll allow it like that. But if you make money from it, just know that if they wanted to, they could enact the copyright and then you'd have to take the video down. So it just depends on how you want to play it. So I decided to just play it safe. I'll promote the book, but I'm not going to read the book if it's under copyright. But this one is a good book to have right here. Self-Love. 100 quotes, reflections, and activities to help you uncover and strengthen your self-love by Devi B. Dillard Wright. I'm going to tell you right now, this book is awesome. If you need a constant reminder that is deep, thoughtful, but practical, get this book. I'm going to tell you why I love it. Firstly, because it's practical. A lot of times we hear deep, insightful wisdom and we understand it mentally, but when it comes time to apply it to the daily life, we can't quite, you know what I'm saying? It's like we can't quite put it into action. So we end up just collecting a lot of wisdom and we don't ever really act on it because we don't know how to make it practical. This book does that. And it does it very, very well. And how many pages is this book? I'll tell you right now. It's 257 pages. It's structured like this. So it'll start off with a quote here. Oh, on the other side here. Then it goes into some information about it all. And then this little part here is some actions that you can follow. So I'll read one real quick. Let me just pick one at random. Let's pick one at random and see what it says. It's the one I marked. So look at this message here. Pick your battles. This is a quote by C. Joy Bell C., who's the author. It says, choose your battles wisely. After all, life isn't measured by how many times you stand up to fight. It's not winning battles that makes you happy, but it's how many times you turned away and chose to look into a better direction. Life is too short to spend it on warring. Fight only the most important ones. Let the rest go. And then it says, you may sometimes have a hard time deciding which battles are worth fighting and which you should let go. Fighting them all saps your energy and leaves you feeling responsible for every little thing that goes wrong. And whenever you encounter resistance or are unable to change something, it can put your mind into a mode of self-blame and self-doubt. Focusing on negative thoughts and feelings towards yourself that chip away at your self-esteem. A fight is worthwhile when it hinges on a principle you hold dear, when it allows you to hold on to an unalterable part of your identity, or when it uplifts and strengthens your community. Let go of most of the other stuff. It doesn't matter if someone cuts you off in traffic or talks about you behind your back. These are pretty, these are petty moments that will only leave you more frustrated in the end if you choose to fight. Conserve your energy for the fights that really matter, like when someone threatens your community or those you love. There are some struggles for which you were born, the rest are just annoyances. And in that action box, it says, have you ever had to fight for something when an important personal value was at stake? How did it feel to fight for something that truly mattered to you? Think of the battles you may have in your life right now. Choose one you feel strongly and consider how you might approach it in an effective way. Then release those lesser battles. That's nice. I like that. It's not worth it to fight everything or everyone. And it really does leave you depleted. I've done that before. I've been in that space in my life where I had to be in fight mode to survive, right? It's a survival response. Sometimes it's a trauma response. And then when you're out of those situations, it's like you're just stuck in fight mode and you can't stop fighting. And in the end, all you're fighting is the love that's trying to come to you. Because as long as you stay in that space of warring and turmoil, true love can't come in. So if you choose to keep fighting people and fighting every situation that comes up just to feel the sense of I won, in the end, you'll really lose. Because for all that time you were fighting, love wasn't able to be present within yourself. Just think about that. But this is a book worth getting, I promise you. If you just read one every morning before you start your day and read one before you go to sleep, change your life. All right. Next one I'm reading that I think is great is this book, The Beginner's Guide to Star Seeds, Understanding Star People and Finding Your Own Origins in the Stars. I'll tell you why I love this book. This book is good to get if you want to start exploring the different races and the different beings outside of Earth history, what you've been told, right? Because there's a lot of information already out there about Lyrians, Pleiadians, Andromedans, all these other things. This one, what I love about what this book does with it, it also gives you the history of that race within our own culture and history. So it ties it to like maybe the Egyptians or the Greeks. So they let you know the history of how it came to be on Earth first, not just what it is out there in space. And it has a lot of checklists, stuff like this that you can do to see which race you're most aligned with. So it's a really good practical guide to explore star seeds and Earth families. It's easy to digest, it's easy to read. It talks about the unique abilities of star seeds, the traits, the star families. Talks about the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Andromedans, the Lyrians, the Orions, the Arcturians. Something I found real interesting in this book. I'll show you. This chapter here, the unique abilities of star seeds. I like that one. This chapter was really good. It talked about the strong intuition, your clairvoyance, your psychic skills, your past life memories, manifestation. And then it talked about the other clairs. So like clairsentience, clairaudience, but it mentioned some I never heard of before. So it had clairsentience, which is the ability to sense feelings intuitively or to read the energy of a person, place, or thing. That's clairsentience. It has clear audience, which is the ability to hear things intuitively or hear sounds only you can hear. It talked about clear cognizance, the ability to know things without understanding why you know them. It talks about clear tangency, which is the ability to intuitive touch or picking up an object and knowing things about it based solely on feeling it. That one was new to me. Then there was clear alliance, which is the ability to smell intuitively. And then there's clear gustance or gustance, however you say that, is the ability to taste intuitively. So I like that because it kind of goes into how your senses are more than what you think they are. And that by tasting, smelling, seeing, touching things, you're sensitive enough to tap into the entire history of that thing. Some of us have that ability. You can walk into a room between the smells and the feel and what you run your hand across the surface. You can tell everything that happened in that space. You just know it. You just know it. You don't know how you know it, but you know it. So I love this book because it goes into all of those abilities, everything you want to know about the stars and the alignments and the star families. I think it's good and it's worth getting. All right. Last thing I'm going to share. How long has it been? 26 minutes. All right. I won't stay on too long. A story from this book that I've read every now and then. The Book of Virtues for Young People by William J. Bennett. I think I'm pretty safe to read from this book. It's pretty old. I doubt there's a copyright on this. So I'm just going to go for it. This story is called The Chest of Broken Glass. And when I read it, it was funny because the first thing I thought about was my own mother. And I'll tell you why in the end. Let me just read the story. So this story is going to tap on the responsibilities of parents and children towards each other as they change with age. This tale is about that time in life when caring about someone means taking care of them. The obligation to honor thy father and mother does not end when father and mother grow old. So here's the story. Once there was an old man who had lost his wife and lived all alone. He had worked hard as a tailor all his life, but misfortunes had left him penniless. And now he was so old he could no longer work for himself. His hands trembled too much to thread a needle, and his vision had blurred too much for him to make a straight stitch. He had 3 sons, but they were all grown and married now, and they were so busy with their own lives, they only had time to stop by and eat dinner with their father once a week. Gradually, the old man grew more and more feeble, and his sons came to see him less and less. They don't want to be around me at all now, he told himself, because they're afraid I'll be a burden. He stayed up all night worrying what would become of him until at last he thought of a plan. The next morning, he went to see his friend the carpenter and asked him to make a large chest. Then he went to see his friend the locksmith and asked him to give him an old lock. Finally, he went to see his friend the glass blower and asked for all the old broken pieces of glass he had. The old man took the chest home, filled it to the top with broken glass, locked it up tight, and put it beneath his kitchen table. The next time his sons came for dinner, they would bump their feet against it. "What's in the chest?" they asked, looking under the table. "Oh, nothing," the old man replied, "just some things I've been saving." His sons nudged it and saw how heavy it was. They kicked it and heard a rattling inside. "It must be full of all the gold he's saved over the years," they whispered to one another. So they talked it over and realized they needed to guard the treasure. They decided to take turns living with the old man, and that way they could look after him too. So the first week, the youngest son moved in with his father and cared and cooked for him. The next week, the middle son took his place, and the week afterward, the eldest son took a turn. This went on for some time. At last, the old father grew sick and died. The sons gave him a very nice funeral, for they knew there was a fortune sitting beneath the kitchen table, and they could afford to splurge a little on the old man now. When the service was over, they hunted through the house until they found the key and unlocked the chest. And of course, they found it full of broken glass. "What a rotten trick!" yelled the eldest son. "What a cruel thing to do to your own sons." "But what else could he have done, really?" asked the middle son sadly. "We must be honest with ourselves. If it wasn't for this chest, we would have neglected him until the end of his days." "I'm so ashamed of myself," sobbed the youngest. "We forced our own father to stoop to deceit because he would not observe, because we would not observe the very commandment he taught us when we were young." But the eldest son tipped the chest over to make sure there was nothing valuable hidden among the glass after all. He poured the broken pieces onto the floor until it was empty. Then the three brothers silently stared inside, where they now read an inscription left for them on the bottom: "Honor thy father and mother." That's funny to me. It's funny. I love that story. I think it's funny because how many parents today have to trick their kids to spend time with them? I think my mom does that to me. I think she does. If I don't go to my mom's house, she says, "Kay, you coming over today?" I'm like, "No, mom, not coming today." "Oh man, if you would have came, I made banana bread." "Mom, I think you tricked me. I think you tricked me to come by." But the idea to honor your mother and your father. Let's talk about that a little bit. Some of you have no problem doing that because your memories of mom and dad were amazing and beautiful, and they cared for you and they gave you love and understanding and helped you to grow and supported you when you needed it and let you fly when you needed to, learn things on your own. Some of us, maybe we had one parent that did that sometimes. It's maybe a little harder for you to forgive and find love and appreciation for, you know, the way you were probably treated by your parents, that they loved you sometimes and then they pushed you away most times, so you're kind of like, ah. And then some of us are like, don't, no, no, no. I was dropped off by a stork. I don't have mom and dad. Or my grandmother was my mother, or Aunt so-and-so was my, we're like anybody but them. I'm adopted, right? Whichever part of the spectrum you're on when it comes to honoring mother and father, just know that you can always truthfully, honestly give thanks to whoever it was that came together to bring you here. That much you can say, I can at least give thanks for, is that something brought these two people together and I'm here. Because if you're here, it's a blessing. You are a blessing. And that much, if you had to reach, you could say at least that much I can be grateful for. Now, if after that it's still a hell no, absolutely not, I can't do it. Maybe take your perspective to cosmic mother and father. because regardless of earthly mother and father, you are a cosmic being. And your cosmic mother and father is the energy, electromagnetic energy, right? The male aspect of energy, the female aspect of energy, the god, the goddess that still came together to create you, put your hair, your skin, your eyes, your nails, your cells, that mother and father that put you together molecularly. You see what I'm saying? You can always find honor and strength and love for that mother and father, even if you can't find it for earthly mother and father. Okay? So always find a perspective that puts you in gratitude, causes you to feel love, gives you a positive outlook, right? And in honoring the creator of who you are, you honor yourself as the created thing. So there's no honoring mother and father without honoring you. That's why you always want to find a way to do it in whatever perspective helps you. Okay? So that's all the message for today. Thank you for kicking it with me on my live. I see 2 people on here. I love and appreciate you, whoever you are. Oh, Yolanda, there I see it. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Yolanda. I love and love and love your support. Carolina, I don't know who you are, but you've just been sending me so much love. And I'm sending it right back to you. Mwah, 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 mwah. I appreciate you and love you. Yolanda Marie, man, no words. No words. I'm going to stop before I'm start crying because you were just, wow. You're something else. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Love you guys.